cool, man.
Renee's the only person who gets to be who she is.
Yeah. There you go. No, look at that.
My nature.
We got our name. It's all good.
Fakers.
So you guys don't know this, but like 4 days, maybe you do know this. Maybe you guys are voracious Imagos Softworks fans and you watch Starr Mazer TV every day. You would know that like 5 days ago when we started doing this proper, we had like a webcam and.
Wow! This is
like
a
webcam on a television.
This is a really good webcam that you have right
Yeah,
now.
no, it's probably the best. It's a 4K professional
4K
HD webcam. No, the gag was something in us clicked and realized that we're also Imagos Films and maybe we should do the film thing too professionally. So boom, here we go.
It.
So welcome to Imagos Softworks' Starr Mazer TV. We got a bunch of fans. We've been playing. We were going every day during our Kickstarter. It's insanity. I haven't slept in a long time. I'm living mostly on Surgeon Pizza.
Why would you sleep?
It's the
Yeah,
worst.
sleep.
It's very unnecessary.
Very unnecessary.
You work on games. Sleep
Yeah, it's
is
gone.
really like.
Also, it's kind of sad that like the coolest wall is definitely that one.
I know. Like,
you guys
so
can't
good.
see this. It's amazing.
We've actually shown
beautiful.
the vinyl wall before,
Okay.
the Mega Man vinyl wall.
Gorgeous.
So what we're going to do tonight is we have special guests. We've been introducing special guests for the last couple episodes, which is pretty cool. Now we're stacked with them. Everybody wants to be on Starr Mazer TV, which is really odd because this is just some shit I'm doing in a living room this one time. But here we are. It's the greatest. Everybody loves it. We've had dinner ordered for us.
Wow.
The last like 5
nice.
nights.
That's good.
So this is a racket. I'm gonna pretend to make video games and just do this and get food. That's how I eat. No, just kidding.
Now you can get them to pay your rent too. You'll just be
Right?
set.
No, seriously.
If they could also pay for sleep. Okay.
Or if they could transfer
you have to buy
sleep.
it. That
Yeah.
makes sense. No,
What
really.
if you could do a thing where you had like a sleep service where someone could sleep in your stead, but you'd get all of the sleep from it, like the benefit of the sleep? That'd be pretty neat. Like sleep by proxy.
This sounds like
sleep.
I
I
went to
just
like
hook my cats up to that. I'd be well rested all
You
the
could
time.
all the time. You'd also be dreaming the weirdest shit all the time.
is you wake up and you just no, that's wrong.
Okay, so on this episode, we're gonna start for an hour to an hour and a half of just Q&A, talking about stuff. You guys can ask us about Starr Mazer. We want to talk about game design. We want to talk about interesting problems that we've run into, I think, and maybe getting your perspectives on like Kickstarter and like how things have changed and how the industry is kind of arcing. And I have actually, you guys have some unique perspectives that I'd like to address with particular attenuation toward Starr Mazer. Starr Mazer is not my first game. It's Imagos Softworks' first game, but I worked on a bunch of games. It's not anybody who works on the game's first game, but we are seeing unique things happen with this particular game. It's the most popular thing we've ever worked on, number
That's
one.
unique.
And number two, wow. And number two, it's gotten weird attentions.
Weird attention.
Yeah, weird attentions.
Weird
So,
things.
yeah, like for example,
Unpleasant or
sometimes
pleasant?
unpleasant.
Oh.
There's a good example is we have a long arcing story, and the story of Starr Mazer is what it actually means to be a hero.
Yeah.
It's a telling of a story that I've been kind of learning about and being part of as being just a human being in life. Right, I'm 35. I'm getting to that point where, like, by the way, we're surrounded by cats. I don't know if you noticed that. If you hate cats, I'm sorry. We have 3. They're like the show's cats. They're very cute. Oh, they will appear. Don't worry. Oh, you have cats.
She's stumbling cat.
I'm
You're
too low.
doing that. Yeah, you loud. I didn't see. So in reality, it's floating right here, guys,
Yeah, there
in
you
front of
go.
us.
Yeah.
But she was going like this, and I didn't know what she was talking about. So the story is about what it is
Okay.
to be a hero. And our main character, as you know, if you look around, is a white dude with blonde hair and a cigarette and a gun.
Yeah.
That's not what it means to be a hero. And that's I thought that would be like a clear statement. The gag of our story is the guy's 130 years out of time. He was the hero of the Great War. He saved humanity in this huge thing. He was the coolest dude. He had a gun. He had ladies. He had all the stuff that you need 130 years ago to be considered a successful hero guy. He wakes to a world where humanity is almost entirely gone. Him being a guy with a cool gun and a cool ship is meaningless.
Yeah.
That's an incredibly dark scenario for him, and he's got to deal with that. It's not enough that he's a white dude with blonde hair and a gun. That can't work for him at all.
Yeah.
And he's actually, when you start the story, he's actually down. He's pretty ruined. He's a.
I mean, I'd be pretty ruined if I slept for 130 years. To be honest.
We hadn't worked out the kick sleep scenario that we were talking about earlier. But the gag is, over the course of the game, he has to discover that he actually is a hero. He's actually like the chosen one, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But not really as he'd expected. It's actually, he may be more of a lever than he is an actual hero. and the privilege and stuff that he's got from being in his station is meant to be utilized by real real heroism, and not necessarily by him. And we try to. This is a beautiful story that I think he's 30 years out of time. I grew up. The world I grew up in was a world where, like when I was a little kid, every single TV show was a white kid winning a thing. Like that's like a white boy winning a thing. Like Crossfire was. Remember you get up in the Crossfire. Yeah. The blonde kid won. Like they even went that far. Like there's a blonde kid and a brunette kid. The blonde kid won. He had to win. That was the world I grew up in. I grew up in America. Upper middle class. I guess when I was younger, I was upper lower class, but I got into upper middle class. I spent my entire life as a kid propagandized to in a certain way, and as you get to be past like your pre-teens, you start to realize that there's a big giant whole world out there. Like it exists and it's giant. And if you have connection, luckily I was in a world where I had connectivity and I was able to.
Figure that stuff out.
Yeah, right. I was 35. I'm 35. So at the time, like I was
35.
Yeah.
Damn.
Do I not seem 30? I seem super young. I apologize.
I'm just not going to make a statement.
Okay, great. No, but I grew up. We had dial-ups and modems and BBSs. And even then, you realize, oh man, my local opinion is completely wrong. I was from Michigan. I was from Detroit. They have a different idea of how things are than like Indiana. Like that's a different.
I'm from the Netherlands. Like the way I grew up was very, very different from all of that. But I mean, a lot of those things sort of expand around the world, I guess, or around the Western world. Those ideas and thoughts and like the whole privilege, like racial privilege, that definitely exists throughout the Western world.
Absolutely.
It's a weird thing. Yeah, it's actually a really interesting take on that because you kind of take the expectation of a normal hero, right? And then basically flip that on the hero character. So there's a lot of potential for very interesting storytelling there, which I think is an exciting part of the game.
That's definitely our plan. And to bring it back to the original statement, though, people won't accept that. That's not a thing. We either have people super pissed that Brick can't be a hero just by default because he's a white dude with a gun, or like super unconvinced that we would ever do that for real. Yeah. And it's shocking because the whole point of the game, it's actually the story. I don't want to be too like auteur game developer guy or whatever, but the story is I was 9 and thought a thing was a way, and now I'm 35 and realize it's totally not the way, and there's a better way.
And it was 130 years between those.
Yeah, well, I mean I wanted to.
Is it autobiographical?
Yes, I slept for 130 years.
Nice.
Just not recently. Yeah. No, so that's kind of we were getting a lot of flack that way. There's also there's the immediate expectation, and I guess because we're in an environment where that expectation is kind of everywhere all the time. There's a character in the trailer, and also we just released an update to describe to combat the concern. There's a character, Bunny Bitshift, who presents herself as somebody who needs to be saved. She does so because in her universe, nobody really needs to be saved. Everybody's they're not equal. They have equal rights. Yeah. They're all aliens. Some have people with 8 arms. You have 6 more arms than I do. We don't have equal number of arms. But people don't really need. The universe has changed a great deal since the Great War. But she sees somebody who yearns for this idea that I can be your hero or whatever, and she might have plans, like really complex plans that involve using this guy and his amazing spaceship that doesn't exist anymore.
There's grounded reason for skepticism, right? And it's kind of awful that we are in a time and space in our medium where that skepticism is justified just by the context of our medium right now. If you look at games in general, like not many games, because like this sounds like a really cool sort of self-aware sort of thing, right? We're kind of poking fun of our own medium and the tropes within it, and then trying to use that to like say something constructive. If I listen to what you're saying, that's exactly what you're saying, and that requires a great amount of restraint and knowledge of storytelling and like understanding of the problems and the issues at hand and the way people deal with that, and people are going to be gonna have some sort of skepticism towards that because so many games got it wrong. Right. And I think in this case, like, it's really exciting to see that you very clearly have that self-awareness and aren't afraid to just say that's it. You know, this is it. That's it. We're not gonna pull like the beta switch. We're not gonna. We're just this is it. This is This is like Mr. White Privilege.
Yes.
And Mr. White Privilege ends up in a world where white privilege is no longer
the concept doesn't even exist to these people.
And
it's
that's
not even a thing.
I mean, it's interesting. It's basically the internet, the game, I guess.
Can I quote you that? Can I put that on a poster? Like
the
internet,
Starr Mazer, the internet, the game, Rami.
Sure, go for it.
I really like the idea of taking something that's established as a norm and then sort of ripping it to parts.
Right.
I mean, in my own game, I'm doing that a lot with fairy tales and fables. It's just like how you know that fairy tale and like sort of going the opposite way and figuring out like maybe being more sympathetic with the villain of the tale. I find it gives an interesting perspective and allows people to see the scenario with like fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just interesting because I think this story has a lot of parallels with where we are in like this medium right now.
Sure.
And there's just a lot of little things that you could use to make people more self-aware of these issues. And I just think like the idea of making a game about that is also just a fun game.
Yeah.
Is just, that's very interesting.
I was just before we got to talking, I was on a podcast where I was asked, what's the amount of like propagandizing versus like fun gameplay. There's no amount of propagandizing.
Yeah, there's no propagandizing.
None.
This is a story.
Yeah, it's a story, and the story has a moral, and the moral is maybe being a hero isn't what some group of people think it is.
Yeah, no, I mean we got the same problem with Nuclear Throne. When in Nuclear Throne we have we have humanity as sort of a faction, but they're a very small faction. And they're normally masked, so you can't really see them. So the first time we introduced a human being, she ended up being a black female character, and the amount of people that said that was pandering was overwhelming. Then it's like, well, this is too politically correct. We literally rolled the dice. We just rolled dice, and we're like, well, dice. Black female, done. And it's like it's so hard for people to understand that like humanity exists as more than one race. And more than one gender in games, that seeing a game just poke at that by being all that and then just being like that's nice. I like that.
Cool. Well, that's so we've run into some flack there. I know that we've gotten all kinds of Kickstarter messages from people saying we think Bunny is just a bimbo or whatever, and we wrote a whole update describing like her race is not only like the oldest race, she's not in a bunny suit, and that's actually a joke we're doing. Like she looks like she's wearing a bunny suit, which is this like highly sexualized thing from when I was a kid. This like, so she's a girl in what Brick thinks is a bunny suit. So his idea is those ears are actually like psionic attenuators. She uses them to manipulate people mentally. Like their race is this ancient race. Like they have the most powerful navy in like galactic history. So you see all these dudes with like bunny ears and like giant guns and stuff. Like this super badass people. They disappeared a million years before Earth existed. So. It's this like looks don't mean what you think they do, and there's this weird irony in that, and people are immediately like, I'm trying to say, hey guys, maybe what you shouldn't do is immediately judge some shit just by what it looks like, and that's the first thing they do, and they're like, you guys are being insensitive. I'm like, no, you're doing exactly what I'm saying. Humans shouldn't be doing.
That's also just interesting in that so I travel a lot, right? A lot of what I do is travel, is going to different countries and we were actually talking about this the other day, but like a lot of like common gestures in how we communicate with each other are actually very different, like across different cultures. So saying me or myself is different in like American is like me, but in other places that would be a kind of a weird gesture to make, or like a strange gesture to make, or like the thank you if a car stops for you, that could be seen as highly aggressive in some way. So like having different cultures like collide with each other is really interesting. It's just really funny that in this case it's an in-world culture and the internet again. Let's be like, no. Totally. There is no different cultural view except for the ones that we have, and that's it. And that's you're gonna run into that because these are not. You're not talking about simple issues. You're talking about people's worldviews, right? And worldviews are so inherent to a person that it's hard for people to understand that they are not universal.
Right. Understanding that it's often a cultural thing, and that you can end up misunderstanding other
Right.
people and where they're coming from just because they don't have the same background and approach things differently.
That's exactly what Brick does, though, right? He approaches the world as like, oh yeah, she's bunny suit, she's hot, like, and then no, totally, and what she'll do is spin you and totally use you as a tool. Because she saw that you were like an insensitive.
He is kind of a tool. Yeah.
He's a toolbox. So we have a question. Let's answer a question.
We have a couple of questions lined up from Super Scurry.
Super Scurry, hello.
What are Rami and Renee looking forward to from Starr Mazer as a player?
I mean, that's like, it sounds like a very integrated thing. I think the idea isn't that we should pick one element and like enjoy that. I mean, I'm an action guy, right? I like action games, so I'm very looking forward to those parts of the games. But then the adventure stuff, as a kid, I played crap out of those, so I want to play that too. But I think kind of the idea of the game is exactly that it isn't one element, and that you should just sort of take it as a whole.
So on that note, pick your favorite single element of the game.
Please pick one.
Go pick one.
Pick one.
Yeah.
No, I mean, as we've just been talking about the story and the characters, and I think that's actually what I'm looking forward to most, because, I mean, there's so many interesting elements, but where I think is going to really shine about this game are the characters and the interactions of the different alien cultures and things going wrong because of these misunderstandings all the time. It seems like it'll be a fun and humorous lesson.
Yeah, we integrated the blast. Blast is one of your options, and we're working very hard. God, it was so... The minute I came to the team and was like, so you can shoot anything.
Oh God. Oh,
you can shoot anything. You click blast, you can shoot anything. You can shoot the bartender, you can shoot Bunny, you can shoot anything. I think we have two, he can't shoot himself, but not because of any kind of like...
He just loves himself too much.
He loves himself too much. Yeah, he's like, nah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And he can't shoot Bunny.
Okay.
Because he's obsessed with Bunny. And that's actually a problem, because there are times in the story where like, you could just shoot her,
Yeah.
the whole thing would be fine.
Yeah.
But, because she's, making manipulations. But, we gave him the ability to shoot anything to teach you that, I mean, you can play through the entire game shooting everything.
Yeah.
And we're kind of excited about the person, because there are space police and then there are galactic police. The whole thing, your entire story can be, I shot everybody at the Hollow Exeter and now I'm on the run until I die. Like, that's an actual viable story.
Yeah.
But you have to learn that that's not the fun story. That's not the good story.
Well, it is a fun story for a little bit.
For a little bit.
You get murdered.
Yeah.
That's
so,
not good.
So that's really cool. Yes, next question.
Next question's from Another Fluke. I'm curious how Rami came to make all of the indie dev marketing tools like Press Kit and Distribute, and how it has informed his game-making process, and is Starr Mazer benefiting from those lessons?
I'll answer the end of the question first. We use Do Press Kit. So,
cool.
Yes.
Nice.
That's
awesome.
I found that to be incredibly helpful. It did exactly like, as it's one of the few things you get, as it's like, 60 minutes, you have a press kit. I was like, no.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. 60 minutes, you have a press kit.
I mean,
so we use Do Press Kit. We're probably going to use the other one as well. I think we signed up for the beta or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, I'm working on that. It's improving all the time. I mean, like many things in game development, those just sort of happened. Very often you have like something you really want, and in this case, like, what I wanted is not to have to do a new press kit for each game that we do. And Vlambeer makes a lot of games. We've made like 19 games in the past 4 years, so there was a lot of marketing related work. So I decided to just make something that would take that effort away. So I started making press kit, and then I showed Phil Tobitowski, who worked on Octodad, right? And Phil was like, cool, can we use this as well? And I'm like, oh God. So I started retooling the entire thing as a public tool, and then I started, I reached out to press, and I'm like, okay, so what do indies get wrong when they do a press kit? And they're like, no screenshots. So I made press kit not work unless you have screenshots, so that people that want to use it have to use screenshots. And then I believe such a large part of independent game development is helping each other and like trying to like reach out and give back to the community that helped us get where we are. So I made it free. And like Press Kit, Distribute, even though it's fully hosted by us and we pay for the servers, and the service is always going to be free. Like we just think, I don't think success in the indie scene can exist without the support of your community and your fans and the fellow developers that put so much time and effort into building this ecosystem in which we can operate. And you have to give back.
I completely agree. One of the reasons we actually run Starr Mazer TV is to get different developers' perspectives, not just because like, OMG, I want to know what you think, but because we should all know what we all think. That's a big deal. And we also interact with the fans directly. These people have supported us. I mean, some of the people in here actually have dropped thousands of dollars into our Kickstarter in the last like 2 weeks.
Amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And they're affecting the game. Luckily for us, we have a game that's not. It's super tight and. Thank you, the gaming computer, for the follow. Awesome. We have a game that's not. The core story is super tight.
Yeah.
But the universe it's in is super varied.
Yeah.
So people are able to affect certain things in our universe.
Yeah, you have a lot of space.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool. We have other questions, right?
Yes, so this next question comes from 2DX, our own Austin Monville.
Austin Monville, developer at 2DX, also developer on Starr Mazer.
Yeah.
So this is a question for both Renee and Rami. Based on what you know of the game, how would you approach building Starr Mazer?
Oh, man.
Curl up in a corner and cry. That would probably be my first step.
He's done that.
Yeah.
Austin has done that exact same thing. Curled, and I have as well. Curled up in the corner and cried.
No, I mean making a game is tough, right? Every game that ships is a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
Like just out of the box, I could say that. I think I could say that. So you're making 3 games.
Yeah.
Effectively.
It's true.
And then with an overarching story, with characters that can disappear, with basically a lot of branching elements and narrative dynamics, and you have to get all of it right.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'd like to point out is the branching elements are not actually branching.
No, it's a dynamic narrative, isn't it?
Completely. Yeah. And it's built on entirely.
That's even worse.
Well, what's weird is we've moved actually. This is something I found actually super ironic. I was like, I'm gonna deal with a developer. I developed too, but I'm gonna get a guy I know can ship a game. He's gonna work on it. And what we developed was tools that moved all the complication from the developer to the story makers, right?
Yeah.
So we have all these stack simple systems that will cascade as you play. They're literally the simplest things.
Yeah.
A gun has 100 inputs and 100 outputs, which like where was it left? Where did you find it? All these other things, and you put that into the world, and you watch all the other things respond around it, and they're all hyper focused. Everybody's focused on himself.
Yeah.
So there are strings that we pull to kind of arc the story, but it's all stacked simple systems. So once we have the tools to make those systems, we're just on the hook for making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things, and then testing.
Right. Yeah.
They don't explode.
It's a
all the time.
content game.
Yeah. That's how I designed my own game. Is that I made tools to make it fairly easy to put new things into the game, but I spent almost all of my first part of development developing all these systems to make then adding new things to the game more simple, and so they will take care of themselves once I put them in there.
That's incredible. That's good.
Yeah. No, I think that's the right way of doing it. Vlambeer is not that kind of studio. We cannot do that. Like, me and JW would go completely crazy within the first week.
Well, there are 9 of us, and half of us are a film company. So
half of you are also like just objectively crazy because this game is a thing that you're making.
Yeah. Well, we're making it because people want it, and that's an important thing. We have another question.
So this one is from Chicken Scratch. So for the story, we can be the hero in our own way, but no matter what you do, someone will always have a problem with it. Or will there be a way that you are the global hero and you have no enemies?
The no enemies thing isn't realistic. That doesn't exist in the real world. You can be. I mean, Mother Teresa had detractors. Like, you can have. You can't do it. I'm sorry. We're building a real dynamic story that's based on real stuff. Granted, yes, it's a million years in the future, plus 991 years, all that, whatever. That's fine. But you won't. I think every time you do a thing, it will change the world for the good and bad. Your job is to try to, as a hero, determine what it is to be a hero by bending the universe around you to fit what you think is the best amount of goals. I do know that one of our biggest story, like when we cracked the story, we realized that Brick. I don't want to spoil a bunch, but unity is definitely a huge thing. So though you can't win over everybody, winning over people is probably a good thing. Yeah.
So we have another question from Chicken Scratch. For Starr Mazer, I know you said updates can drastically change the game.
Yeah.
But if you don't make the goal, but the game turns out really well and sells really well, would you do future updates to the game to add things you couldn't afford to do now?
Probably not. What I'd probably do is buy like a Ferrari or two, and then like get it.
Go for the
Tesla.
The Tesla.
Oh yeah, Tesla S.
Tesla's the new thing.
S.
I was John Carmacking.
Well,
for a
you've
moment,
been
like,
asleep for 130 years, so it's okay.
Tesla's new. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds good.
Brand new.
I'll get one. So we'll probably just get some Teslas. No, of course we would add to the game. When asked what people think, I think the main, like, if I had to pick what Starr Mazer is most like, well, it's not most like anything, but I would say Minecraft. First off, it's super valuable. Microsoft's buy it. Second off, we're gonna keep adding to it until like it becomes a really cool thing.
2.5 billion franchise.
That's exactly.
Oh
right.
yeah.
No. Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
Perfect.
Fuzzy Ski has a question. Rami and Renee, what are your favorite pizza toppings?
I kind of know your general answer to this.
Okay, you go.
Well, your general answer is no toppings, just cheese.
Straight
It's like
cheese.
cheese pizza.
Cheese pizza's good.
I like cheese pizza.
Yeah.
You like?
I like
Wait, were you just about to like not? You're like flanked by two cheese pizza dudes, and now you're just like.
No. I'd say if I had to pick two toppings, I'd pick pepperoni and jalapenos.
Ooh, nice jalapeno on a pizza.
I like
really good.
jalapenos. Jalapenos are good, but I wouldn't put them on a pizza. That's just wrong.
Wrong.
That's
Like
just
objectively wrong.
wrong. Maybe 130 years in the future. But for now, we're not there yet.
We're not at jalapeno.
See, you guys are just stuck in the past.
I'm happy here.
New question.
So this one is from Frankie from Florida. If the console goals are met, will each console version be identical, or will each have a unique feature different from each
Wait,
console?
Frankie from Florida, is that like a Twitch username? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not like a guy we know, Frankie, who just happens to be in Florida.
Now
right
I feel like we're on the news.
Yeah,
Frankie from
Frankie
Florida
from
has
Florida.
a question.
Our goal is to make to add. All right, how do I say this without pissing people off and also maintaining?
No, just piss them off.
Okay, the truth is, Xbox One and PS4 will probably get a really cool HD port of the game. We'll kick it out. It'll be really nice, super cool, smooth controls. So that's in its own way different from your mouse and keyboard. So that's its own unique thing. The Wii U has a really cool interface, right? It's got the two screens. It's got the stylus, all that. So that would be different. Obviously, it'd have its own different thing. And then mobile is different control schemes, different objects. We would definitely. The reason I'm trying to skip this because this all exists as information you can find at our Kickstarter where you go put us money, give us money. It all exists. The gag is. The higher priced ones, like for instance the 3DS, is if we hit $300,000. There's a reason for that. We have to build every line of code again.
Yeah, 3DS is a pain.
It's beautiful. It's what I want most, but it's also what I don't want the most because it's so much work.
Oh my god. I don't know who did the tool stack for that thing, but it is objectively the worst. It's worse than jalapenos on your pizza.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I mean, that's a bad as well.
That's nice.
I went to Jupiter Ascending yesterday, and that's better than the 3DS tool stack.
What?
I'm just not good.
Go for it.
So we have a question from Quantum Feline.
Quantum Feline.
How do you treat the
That's
inventory
awesome.
to avoid some of the pitfalls of older adventure games, i.e. too many items, trial and error puzzle solving, etc.?
Brick and carry what brick and carry, number one. Brick and keep stuff. I don't know. We've got a whole system built around each item being its own independent unit, and brick being able to carry a certain amount, and brick being able to store a certain amount, and that kind of stuff. Thank you very much, Clown Deacon. That's terrifying. But thank you for the follow. We really appreciate it. This episode of Starr Mazer TV brought to you by Renee Gittens, the choice, the right generation. All right, back to answering the question. So that's a gag I do. It wasn't actually brought to us by you. You're on it. But that's cool. Yesterday, I think it was brought to everybody by Surge, which I'm not actually allowed to say. I don't think, but I said it like 90 times.
You can say slurm or whatever.
Yes. Oh yeah. By Furtnal. It's brought to you by Furtnal. So we have I'll answer the question openly. We're not sure yet. we have a year of development to go. We have ideas. We have a big board. A lot of the things we've honed down, like a lot of shmup mechanics, we've totally worked out. A lot of the problems with point-and-click shooters, we've totally worked. The inventory system, if you look at some of our screenshots, like going historically over our dev blog, you'll see that the interface for inventory changes constantly. We're working on that.
I mean,
it's hard.
It's kind of amazing to see how inventories, like we did like sort of an overview of inventories the other day. She's actually playing through Grim Fandango right now, and the inventory
nice.
there is super funny because Matt ended up like grabbing like 7 pieces of like bread, and it's like
just all the bread.
no. But it's interesting. Like inventory kind of is a critical part of how the design of a game flows, right? So you have to iterate on that.
Yeah,
like it's
absolutely.
it's not something where you can just go like, we're gonna have this inventory system. We tried that once. We did an RPG where we had a Diablo 2 inventory style, and that was the moment after we figured out what went wrong with that project. That was the moment where we told ourselves to never say X like in game Y.
Right.
Because it turned out that when we set like an inventory system like in Diablo, we what we meant is we want to take like that grid thing where every item has like a Tetris shaped sort of like block, and you have to like sort of rearrange them, and it's fun to play with space is what we thought. But then with it came like the equivalent of scrolls of identify and like all that stuff and like stacking items, and we didn't need that, but because we set like an inventory like in Diablo, all those design choices stacked on and it's like, okay, this game is gone.
Yeah.
Like we're scrapping this, we're done. But the problem was that we set an inventory system like it. Like you need to build this from scratch.
Are you saying you said that publicly and people had expectations?
No, we did that.
Internally
We did that. No, but like an inventory system is so critical. Like if you could already exactly say what the inventory system was going to be like, that would be nonsense. Yeah. Like this is something that just needs so much iteration.
Yeah. So if you guys watch the dev blog, just go. You're up to 8 times a day. Just scroll all the way back. You'll see that our inventory from our video, like our original pitch video, is completely different from the inventory. Like halfway through, it gets bigger and then changes. We're working on it.
And I'm sure the items themselves have changed significantly over that time as well.
Yeah, conceptually, we went through that weird phase just talking. It's all discussion. We're kickstarting something, guys. We're not middling it. We're working on it. But
aren't you working on an inventory system?
I am. Yeah, I've completely ripped out and re-implemented how items work twice now.
Wow.
But I think I like this iteration.
Good.
The UI elements of it, of course, I haven't really fully cemented down.
Sure.
But that's flexible, and I'm working on it right now. So.
We'll definitely have to talk about it. I think outside of the context of being on live television. Yes.
So we have a question from Jackalope Dave.
Jackalope Dave, hello!
In Starr Mazer, during ship sequences, will there be picture-in-picture type animations of Brick and other characters when speaking, like Star Fox and Wing Commander?
Yes!
I was gonna, because if that answer was no, I was just gonna overrule it right now.
It's yes.
It's yes.
Yeah. No, the answer is yes, absolutely, and it's gonna be fully voiced, and sometimes you're even gonna be talking to the enemy, as we've discussed previously.
This one is from Clampert. To those on the show who have done Kickstarter campaigns, and what part of it was the most challenging and why?
I have never done a Kickstarter campaign. I get a lot of indies that are starting a Kickstarter campaign asking me for feedback.
Yeah.
And I think the most challenging, so from what I understand, and this is not personal, this is secondhand, from what I understand, like just retaining your sanity is the hard part.
Yeah.
Oh, you're supposed to try that?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah. No, it's like, because it's...
You can start with it.
It's, well, if you start a Kickstarter, there has to be something like in your brain that didn't just click correctly, but it's such, like, it's very interesting, and Kickstarter has developed a lot, and it has changed a lot, and like, it used to be that way to get directly to the fans, and the fans would like happily pay for, but like, gamers got more critical of Kickstarter, and rightfully so, because there's a lot of crap on Kickstarter, and there's a lot of stuff that just, kind of falls flat. And, like, you have to communicate that sense of trust, you have to communicate that sense of purpose and goal, you have to show that you're capable of doing that. You're basically talking to a hyper-aware, intelligent crew of people that are as critical as a publisher. But instead of having to convince like the 2 people that are going to throw like a big bag of money your way, you have to convince everybody.
And even that $15 is difficult.
It's hard.
And that's totally legitimate.
Of course, because $15 is a lot of bottles of Coca-Cola. Like that's important to me. So there's Kickstarter is a very interesting platform to watch, but you have to juggle running a Kickstarter, talking to everybody, making a game, sleeping, eating, breathing. Breathing is really hard. You have to do all of those things at the same time while hoping that it'll work out. Because you've got a lot riding on this, and like it's such a public thing.
And we've gone super public with it. We opened up our entire dev blog. Like I said, at least 8 posts a day.
So you need to communicate that trust.
Yeah. We want people to see that we're actually working really hard, and when we fail, they see us fail, and when we succeed, they see us succeed. Our backers are the first to know everything. I think if you give me $1, man, you deserve a thing. That's why you get to be part of the development process. That's why Starr Mazer TV is a thing. We should be working on a game right now. Austin's not here; he's off working on a game.
I should be sleeping right now.
Every day, every single day, we have an episode of Starr Mazer TV to communicate that openness.
Yeah.
Right. I think a really important thing about Kickstarter and sort of a two-way road here is the connection it gives you both with your customers and the connection your customers have to you, because they're more important now for your future success. You're not going to some publisher and getting a wad of cash to impress whoever's on their business side.
Exactly.
You're going straight to your fans and you're getting feedback from them and you're giving to them while they're giving to you, and it becomes much more of a mutually beneficial relationship for everyone involved, and it sort of like cuts out third-party interference.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
we're often asked what will happen if Starr Mazer doesn't make its Kickstarter goal, which, by the way, it's completely tracking to do so. And there's this weird thing, like people are like, they'll like post polls.
I just kind of imagine like explosions behind the couch as you said that. We're totally on some
like jets flying by. No, the gag is I keep getting like these weird. I've been messaging people personally. I've been saying, hey guys, listen, I really get you're super concerned that we're only making $5,000 a day, but you have to understand, like, that we're tracking well.
Yeah.
No, we didn't get funded in the first 3 days, and that's an edge case, and I know that you will find all the people that did and say, but they did. But we're tracking just fine. Don't post the, like, should we give up now poll in our comments. Yeah. Because people go immediately to the comments, and the first thing you see is some guy going, so doesn't look like they're going to make it. They only made $112,000 or whatever. Like, that's insanity. But, I think the direct connection with the fans is super important, and I think... if this existed a lot earlier, I think the games industry would be
so different.
It'd be totally different, and I think in some of those ways it might be better.
Some of them.
Yeah, in some of the ways. I found that we do other things. I raise film funds to make movies with, right?
Yeah.
I've raised a lot more money than this.
Yeah. Of course.
I have done so to make films.
An average publishing deal is more than the amount of money that you're asking for on Kickstarter.
Totally. But that's not what we're trying to do.
No, exactly. That's not the point here. The point is that you want to make this game and you want to make it properly. And to make it properly, you need the people that are investing.
100%. And my main point is... I've raised a bunch more money a lot more easily than this.
Yeah,
this is incredibly difficult. Yeah. It's stunningly difficult. I keep being told if it was 2 years ago, we'd have like shot through the roof. Everybody would trust it. They'd look at the video in like 38 seconds. Yes, I want it. Yeah. But we just released minutes before you guys got here. We're partnering with Yacht Club to do a Shovel Knight crossover. We're doing Hyperlight Drifter crossover. You can play Brick M. Stonewood right now in Legend of Dungeon. We've got Children of Morta crossover. We got like 15 crossovers. One of which I'm sure we might actually leak during this conversation. I don't know, but we've got all kinds of crossovers, and these we're carrying fan bases. We should.
Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Fist pound. It's happening. Done. Nuclear Throne crossover. Announced only on Starr Mazer TV. Just for you. It's happening. So, that's amazing. We have all this, but even that will just tip the needle. Just a little.
Yeah, of course.
Just a little.
But, like, that's the thing, right? Like, the thing... Like, Nuclear Throne, early access, right? Early access game. By far the hardest thing we've ever done is, like, getting a game out. We do updates every week. We need to, like, have a public build that works every week. We need to make sure that people like the game. We have to listen to the feedback. We have to... make sure the game sells. We have to do marketing. We have to go to events. We have to do all those things. It would have been way easier to, like, in our case, we've been around for a while, like, to just self-fund the entire thing and just go, like, screw it, we're making this behind closed door, we're shutting up, eventually, done.
Yeah.
Right?
When it's ready.
But that's the money part. And right, the money part is such a small part of this. Like, you need money to, like, eat.
Yeah.
Right? But... beyond that, like, if we were in this, if any of us were in this for the money, we'd be in, like, software development for, like...
I wasn't software development.
I don't know what the hell was wrong with you.
I came from enterprise development. I was making big data algorithmic stuff for, like,
and that makes way more money than this will ever do. Like, the only reason you're going to be in video games is, A, you love video games, and B, you're slightly crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
just slightly.
Well, if you do Kickstarter, like, it adds
a little bit more, yeah. The needle moves slightly.
It's like nobody. I have never met anybody in the games industry that's like, "Yeah, I'm here for the money," because that's just dumb. It's just the dumbest thing you could possibly say.
I was making biotech software for the NFL.
There you go. Yeah. If you unscrew a Coke cap if you unscrewed a Coke cap between 2005 and 2010, that code down there, I wrote the back end for that stuff. So that's the thing. Like we all had it. We had the moment, and that's how we wanted to be artists. We wanted to make stuff. We wanted to make art. We wanted to tell stories. In my case, I really want to tell stories. That's the biggest part for me. I'm very cinematic in that way, and I want to tell. I have things I want to say to the world. There's this story anecdote that I always point out. One of the things they did was I wrote a call center software, and I was flown to India to present this.
Yeah.
It turned out while I was in India, they were firing the entire team, and it was the worst thing. And I flew back, and it was one of the worst moments of my life. But while I was in India, it was incredible. I spent a bunch of time in India. I had the best time of my life. I met people. It was one of those awakening moments.
Yeah.
I moved around in the United States,
yeah.
and I went to India and the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd been to other countries, but it was always on a weird.
Yeah.
Like, you're in the bubble, right?
Yeah.
You travel around in that little bubble. I went and lived with a bunch of people in India and had the greatest time. It was incredible. One thing that I found though is we couldn't agree or communicate in a bunch of different ways. There was all these different angles. First off, there was a language barrier. Add to that a cultural barrier. Add to that, but one thing happened. We went to the movies. We went and saw Hey Baby in the theater when it first came out. After that moment, we were all best friends.
Yeah.
We all got it.
Yep.
We could make Hey Baby references back and forth.
Yep.
We could all that barrier just dropped away. And
so much of that comes back in the game though. When you think about it for a moment,
Yes.
so much of that is Starr Mazer.
Exactly. That's the point. And I wanted to point out that I did a kind of a poll, and I asked people like, do you know about deoxyribonucleic acid? Do you know about the LHC? Do you know about like proton? Do you know about like current? Do you know who Reagan is? Do you know who Darth Vader is?
Yeah.
India knows who Darth Vader is.
Yeah.
There's not a single person.
Yeah.
A guy with a fucking cobra in a basket knows who. And that happened. He just threatened me with a cobra. He wanted money. He threatened me with an actual cobra. That guy knows who Darth Vader is.
Definitely.
That's power, right? And if you have that power, and you have the power, you have the rights and benefits that come with being able to like live in America and be a white dude. You should use that, and you should use it for good. Like that's a real thing. We have a question, yeah.
So the question is from.
Also, the real brand okay.
Yeah, I was just.
The real brand okay just followed us. Thank you very much.
The gaming computer asked, "How do you create a game?"
Is that to all of us?
I think so.
I got a team of 9 people. We work really hard and don't know what we're doing most of the time. We know what we're doing programmatically. We know what we're doing artistically. We know what we're doing thematically and story-wise. But putting all those things into a pot and having a functional thing at the end is very difficult. That's why we need money and time to iterate and work really hard at it. But we bleed. Who said it? You'll have to forgive me. I know this quote's been misattributed a billion times. But like writing's easy. You just sit at the typewriter and bleed.
Yeah.
Like game design is so easy. You just get some friends together, order a pizza, and die.
Yeah.
For hours.
Sort of wrench your soul out, put it on a
just-
plate, and slowly eat it. And then, like,
some weird
regurgitate it for everyone to consume.
A guy from Joystick, Long Live Joystick.
So sad.
Well, this is the worst.
So
sad. It is very sad, and I objectively think it's very sad, but I also personally think it's very sad. We're at PAX South. He comes up to me, a Joystick reporter comes up to me and says, "Listen, I have to tell you, this game hits me in all the right places. It's so meaningful to me." And then we had an interview, and it was a really deep, really heady, really emotional interview. It was the best interview. I've traveled all over the world with film stuff. I've interviewed 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I had the best single interview I've ever had. I literally told the guy, the reason it hits you is because I took it out of here and put it out there.
Yeah.
And you put it in and you could feel it. We were at the same age, we were at the same, whatever. Thank you very much, Big feet. Me. That guy, you did it. Thank you for the follow. I told him, and he said, it's the greatest thing. We left each other with this sort of like, it was one of those moments you just feel like I connected with
warm
another
and fuzzy.
human being.
Yeah.
I get on the plane,
And
Joystick shuddering, it's going away.
Yeah.
Like no, that was the moment.
I just know. I know so. I've worked with so many people at Joystick, and it was such a quality site that.
Yeah.
I guess like AOL has been, moving towards shuttering some of their franchises for a while,
Right.
but seeing Joystick fall into Engadget, even though now they're back with like Ben Gilbert, who former Joystick, still kind of sad. I loved having that site around. How do you make games?
Follow? Yeah, Renee, how do you make games?
Well, I mean, the game I'm working on right now, I actually had the idea for it when I decided that I wanted to figure out if I could do game design, and so I just tried to design a game around the simple concept of, I've been playing a lot of roguelikes at the time, and I really disliked the fact that in a lot of roguelikes, like in Pixel Dungeon, I love Pixel Dungeon, but then you end up being able to run around the dungeon waiting for monsters to spawn before you progress in the level, because leveling yourself up by killing more monsters was more advantageous than acting all roguish and sneaky
the game,
and running away. So I wanted to design a game based around that concept of not all combat is good combat, and some combat is expensive. And then it just grew, and it's like I developed it. It's like my child. I'm giving it more personality.
Obviously, you had like a giant bank account, and you got a whole team of people that are all independently wealthy working on it, right?
No, actually,
you probably paid them with like a forward you got from like Microsoft or something. Some giant company gave you like $1 billion. You can pay these people with this money, right?
Yeah, as I came from
there's a secret. I actually know this story, and I'm really interested in you talking about this. If you don't mind.
So I was a software developer at a biotech industry, and I had saved up a bunch of money. And when I left that company, that's when I decided I wanted to make a game. So I really dislike how a lot of developers are really like living from ramen food box to ramen food box, and are barely scraping by. So I didn't want my team to feel that way, and I knew that I needed a team to really bring the game that I was envisioning to life. So I kind of busted my buns doing software development and engineering, and I saved up a decent amount of money, and I started my company using that. So I'm living off of my own savings, basically my retirement, and I'm paying my team with my retirement money. And I know that's not possible for everyone. I mean, I'm very lucky that I could be in that position. But I don't want my artists to ever have to worry about paying their own rent. So I'm willing to sort of take that hit. But that makes funding really important, because I didn't save up enough to finish my whole game, and that's really scary, knowing that I'm going to invest so much in supporting my team and my idea, and that I still need the support of amazing people like you guys to really finish my idea and get this game out there.
Yeah, we did something very similar.
I didn't. God.
I gave up I was big data / marketing stuff. I had a 401k and all that stuff that you get when you're like, I get this moment where it's like, don't I have why am I unhappy? I literally have everything. I have everything you're told that you need. And I'm not happy.
That's not people don't understand what you need. Right. That's the problem. Like everybody, and this is a problem you have from like being a kid. Like what you need, according to the world, is good grades, so you can get a well-paying job, and live and die happily. And it's like that. I don't give a shit.
Neither do I. Man, we're
zero.
in the same boat.
I dropped out of school, right? I quit school to start Vlambeer, and that wasn't like some sort of like moral, just big choice. It's just like I want to make stuff.
Yeah.
And it was the stupidest decision of my life was to attempt to drop out of school. And eventually, like, we worked things out with school, and like everything worked out, but like we started with zero. We were exactly what she was saying. We lived on like buying like $1 packs of 3 packs of ramen, and one of them will be chicken, and one of them will be duck, and one of them will be beef.
Yeah.
And the chicken and beef would taste terrible, but the duck would be kind of great. And like we would fight over that, basically, and like that was life for a while. And that isn't a good place to be in.
No.
But like I said, you have to be kind of ridiculous to be in this industry, and I think like this, like your story, is a lot of sacrifice to make something cool, and I think your story is going to be really similar, because we came from a comfortable place.
2 friends and myself started a film company. We had to make a film company, had to make a game company. Film company was easier because we knew what to do exactly right then. I was a developer, but developing for enterprise is different than developing for games, and we didn't really know. But I knew I could make a movie. I'd been making movies already. So we gave up everything. I cashed in the 401k at a 75% loss, which is the best. And by the way, I was young, so it wasn't a lot of a 401k, nothing. We started the company, and we spent all the money making a movie. And the movie went out, and it's still out there. It's making the same amount of money you'd expect a very popular festival indie film to make, which is not money at all. And it's really lucky. My accountant, which we rent an accountant. We don't have an accountant. When we need an accountant stuff, we call a person. She says to us, "You're really lucky. Your movie made 0 money in 2013, so you don't have to worry about taxes." Oh, great.
I think Jonathan Blow said something really smart about that just the other day. Like, he's working on The Witness, and he's been working on The Witness for a while, and he basically took all of the money he earned from Braid and reinvested that into The Witness. And he actually ended up being in debt to make The Witness, which, considering how much Braid had of an impact on this industry, you know, it's a tough industry. But he said, you know, in 20 years, I'm not going to be looking at whether I spent like 6 more months of my life or whether I went into debt for like a few years. I'm going to, like, the thing I'm going to leave is this game. And that's what's going to be important. And I agree with that. Like, I
100% agree with that.
The risk of being like living in a cardboard box for a while, like pretty much literally, did not persuade us to not make Super Crate Box, which looking back was a pretty great choice. But like so much of that is like roll of the die, right? It was the right time, the right game, the right thing, and none of that is planned because nobody in this industry knows what the hell they're doing. Whereas and then smash our, like, you want to know how I make games? We smash our head into the keyboard over and over until eventually something happens. Like, and we got better at like figuring out how to smash our head into the keyboard, and that's game development.
We have another question.
So this one is by Ayub, 24. I am currently studying computer science, but I have no idea what to specialize in. Any help or suggestions? This person also commented that they hate database management.
Yeah,
basically not that.
Yeah, exactly.
If you hate it, don't do it.
Yeah. Also, if you're studying something you don't know why, don't study that thing.
I think the best thing to figure out what you should study is just make some things. I mean, that's really what happened with me. You just should go out there and think about something that sounds fun to make, and you don't have to know anything about how to make it, and just start trying to make it. And if you find an aspect of that fun, then study that aspect. And if you don't find any of it fun, then scrap it and start something else. And you know, you can just do it on your spare time and your weekends and stuff. It just will teach you so much more about yourself, and it'll definitely help you with your studies as well.
Also, I think it's all perfectly individual. Asking us what to do is probably the worst thing.
Yeah.
I know that our opinions will all be different. I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I was 4.5 years old. I remember the minute it happened.
Same thing.
Yeah, I remember the minute it happened. So if somebody says to me, I don't know what I should be studying, I'm like, I can't relate.
I can't help
I knew
you.
exactly. If I don't make films, if I don't tell stories, if I don't make films and I don't make games, if I don't express these stories, I have stories that have to come out.
Here's the thing. The only right way to go about this is, and this is the same, like I saw a question scroll by at some point which was like, I'm working for the man and I want to know when I should like follow my dream. The right answer to that is if you have to ask somebody else, that's not the right time.
Right.
Yeah, you're not
like,
ready yet.
as soon as you are at the point where it's intrinsic, where you are going to do this, even if we try to stop you, that's the right moment to do that. And with stuff like this, the right answer is we don't know. The right answer is try it all. Just try it. Give it like a week. Ask if you can like try, if you can like tag along with a few of the classes for like 2 weeks. Like figure out, go buy a book on the subject, read up on the internet, figure things out, and then see what sticks. And then if it's not the right choice, like figure out how to fix it. Like make a choice now. Like make a choice.
I mean, and it's funny you say that because I majored in mechanical engineering. Like, I started out as an industrial design engineer not too many years ago, and I had considered to switching to software, and I was eventually given the opportunity to, so I switched to software and loved it. But going forward, all I know is I want to make things. I want to help people make things. I don't actually think I'm going to be a programmer, like, going forward in life.
I am
a programmer.
I wanted to be a programmer.
But like, you know, there's so much more to that, and I have no clue. Like, if you want me to give myself a title or a role of what I expect to do in the future, I couldn't tell you.
I'm that dude.
So yeah, let's do that. Let's actually give ourselves our. What is the title you would call? Somebody says, I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about games.
Well, I mean,
what's your title?
Technically, I'm the business and development guy at Vlambeer, which is not biz dev. It's not business development. It's business and development. So
I do business and
I
you
do
do
the business
development.
and the marketing, and then I fly around the world with programming and airplanes, and that's what I do. But like, technically, you might as well call me like the concierge of Vlambeer, because I also take out the trash and make sure that the office doesn't spill. Sometimes, because usually I'm not there. But like, it's an indie studio. What is our title? Like we changed our titles recently. My title is one half of Vlambeer. And JW's title is one half of Vlambeer. And that's the only way to honestly say what we are, because it's too fluid. Like, we don't know. Like,
what about you?
My official title is creative director.
Creative director.
I direct the creating.
You should turn into executive creative director.
Executive creative director.
That's better. better.
Lead executive creative
You should
director.
be lead executive creative director and then of something.
Chief lead executive creative
director / founder.
Yeah, /
comma
founder.
CEO.
No.
/ founder.
All that, and then like suddenly make it very specific, of like of potion management.
Of potion management.
Yeah. Of time a bunch inventory.
Yes.
Nice. I call myself the director of Starr Mazer because that's like a big inclusive enough thing. Like I'm telling people to do things and I'm writing stuff and I'm writing code.
Yeah,
I'm writing
director.
Yeah. But I think I would go. All my business cards say phantasmagorist.
But I mean, yeah.
Right. That's because I'm a storyteller.
You should just make that follower's name your
What was
it?
Maryland Fried Chicken.
Maryland Fried Chicken. Thank you for the following. I want Maryland Fried Chicken now. Thank you very much.
That's your new title.
Yeah, this episode of Starr Mazer TV brought to you by Maryland Fried Chicken, the choice of the right generation. Yes, another question.
We got a question for Rami. This is from Fuzzy Ski. I've got a question. If I were to give a Vlambeer game out in chat today, which game would you recommend I gift someone in Steam?
This is one of those hard questions because you want to like promote the game, but you also like that gift is not.
Okay, somebody just dropped the fish emoticon in Nuclear. Oh, here's the thing. Nuclear Throne is our current project, and if I were to pick a game right now, the game that I'm most proud of is Nuclear Throne. Like, it's such a huge project. It's been such an effort, but it's been so amazing working it. But the bigger thing is we still need active feedback on that. So if you're gonna ask me which would be the game that you would give away, is like Nuclear Throne is gonna earn me $12 and get us feedback, which is great. Super Crate Box is free, so that's not gonna be very useful to give away because it costs nothing.
Yeah.
But like, feel free to give that away in the chat.
To everyone.
Everybody gets a free copy.
Super Crate Box. If you're
you
watching
get Super Crate Box. You get Super Crate Box. You get Super Crate Box. And you get Super Crate Box. So we have Serious Sam the Random Encounter, which is sort of our forgotten game on Steam, and I have to admit, it's kind of broken, but I think it's broken in a fascinating way. It's just, so we basically got told to make a Serious Sam game.
Yeah.
And a publisher came to us and said, like, we want you to make a Serious Sam game. And we just went like, we're not working for the suit. Like, hell no, we're not working for the suit. Yeah. And then 14-year-old me in the back of my head and 12-year-old JW in the back of his head just went like, Serious Sam, it's Serious Sam.
Yeah.
We should make. So we went and did the smartest thing we could possibly come up with, which was we pitched the dumbest possible concept we could come up with, so that they would say no. We would have tried, and our conscience could walk away and just love Serious Sam, right? So we pitched a turn-based RPG, and we got an email from Devolver Digital that was just like, yeah. They're like, oh my god, fucking hell, no, we have to make a Serious Sam turn-based. So it's a Serious Sam turn-based RPG. And then we made Luftraus, and Luftraus is just a very solid game. So if I were to recommend one, it would either be Nuclear Throne because it's the most useful to me, or Serious Sam because it's the most fascinating one out of the four. So
cool.
Flip a coin.
Oh, interesting note on Nuclear Throne. I found out just recently that Nuclear Throne and Starr Mazer are going to have a crossover.
Yeah, I heard that on the stream.
Yeah. On the stream.
Right here.
I traveled through time.
Live.
There's a 20-second delay, so it took time for it to get to me.
We should work on something. We need to figure out what that's going to be.
Yeah,
but we should start like talking about it.
It'll happen for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. We'll announce it in an update before the Kickstarter's over because I need that Vlambeer money.
I am the... sweet Vlambeer money.
Vlambeer cash.
Wait, we have to pay for this?
No.
Oh.
Your fans. They'll be like, oh, we want to see it. Whew. But actually, if you want to give us some money.
Let me see. I don't have cash on me.
Oh man, that's the word. I'll take your card if you want. I have a Square.
You got one coin,
I got a PayPal here. I got a Square card.
Do you take euros?
No. Yes.
No, I'll take it.
Yes. No, euros. All euros.
British pounds.
Yes, pound sterling. We accept pound sterling.
Deal.
This is you have. Look at this.
Look.
Real business happening.
Real business just happened. I don't know what the conversion rate on this is. I'm gonna keep it.
I'm gonna need this back after the show.
Don't see it on the phone. Oh, sorry.
Right.
You're just this guy.
Chicken Scratch has Starr Mazer making collaborations since 20 seconds ago. This episode of Starr Mazer TV
brought to you by the British Empire.
The British Empire.
What we got?
Choice. Gluckshire. Thank you for the follow, Gluckshire. It's amazing.
Whoa. Fuzzy Ski. Nuclear Throne has actually been one of my recent obsessions. I've probably gifted about 15 copies of it so far. Okay, here's a heart for you. There you go. Thanks so much. I appreciate that so much.
So I'm worried. Do you actually buy these copies? Because I imagine a future where you're giving out like hundreds of copies of Starr Mazer, and you figured out our algorithm and cracked our key or something, and you've done something terrible. I mean, you actually bought these, right? These belong to somebody.
He just dropped another copy, and it's an actual legit Hubble bundle.
There you go. So he's got them.
Thank you so
They're
much.
gifted copies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. By the way, Fuzzy will actually be on Starr Mazer TV Friday the 13th. He's bringing Slaughterhouse, and we're going to play TurboGrafx 16 Slaughterhouse on Starr Mazer television.
Nice.
Cool. I don't know how to do the heart. I don't.
So you take your thumbs and you push them together.
Okay.
And then you.
Oh, look at this. So yeah, okay. There. Not as awkward. I've never done it before.
Yeah,
so
it's
this.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to push your knuckles together like on the tips. Just the tip.
No, these a bit lower.
There
you go.
Oh yeah.
Heart. Did
Nice. Thank you very much, guys.
We taught Don how to love.
Yeah. Now I know
right
how to
here
love.
on the show.
This is the greatest. This is the best. So there's about a 20-second delay, so they're still catching up on Slaughterhouse, which is funny because it gets really meta really fast.
Yeah.
Because then they're gonna start talking about Slaughterhouse.
They're about 130 years behind.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like aren't
there's
you guys
time
back there?
attenuation.
You guys are totally back there, right?
Spatial
With your,
lensing, all kinds of stuff.
with your cheese pizzas?
Yeah, cheese pizzas. Have you guys followed Cheese Pizza on Twitter yet?
No.
Cheese Pizza is a magical creature who appears whenever we have pizza. People have bought us pizza, like on our show, and
That's
then
cool.
Cheese Pizza actually appears. It's a living, breathing piece of pizza that talks to our audience.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, so you should follow her on Twitter and check her out on Facebook and Tumblr and Vine and
there.
Oh, cheese
what?
pizza.
She exists. Oh,
Bum. That's cool.
Yeah, that's another collaboration in the bag. We announced it here. We'll announce it on our updates at some point very soon. It'll be pretty cool. Nuclear Throne and what are we looking at?
I was thinking of like how he would fit into potions, and my first idea was
Super bad.
So Prince Charming's not particularly charming.
Ah, yeah.
It's one of those like you take Prince Charming, who's been this, hero and savior and like always saving the princesses, and in my game he's kind of a tool. Like he actually screws things up and causes a lot of trouble.
That sounds
isn't
familiar.
really nice.
That sounds super familiar. There's a character that we just announced yesterday named SD Sunspark in our game, who is basically like modern version of Brick. She's an alien, but she is the best pilot, and she does have the best. She just won a giant war.
She's this universe's Luftrausser.
Best pilot in existence.
the
best pilot in existence.
Nice.
And Brick has this major problem. His brain breaks because A, she's a girl.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know if he should like her or hate her, and B, she's really actually legitimately good and better than him, and he can't get it.
He can't deal with it.
He has to spend the game trying to figure it out, and he goes currently in the arc that we've got. He kind of he thinks he falls in love with her, but he doesn't. He's just
impressed.
He's impressed, and he doesn't know what it means to be impressed.
Wow.
It's crazy.
By a woman?
By a lady. She must be using her feminine wiles on me. But she doesn't give a shit about Brick. The only thing she cares about is that somebody once said he's the best pilot.
Yeah.
And she's like, no.
No. I'm gonna mess you up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have a question.
We got a question from Ayub24. What are your guys' what do you guys love most about programming?
I love solving complex problems with little pieces. It's like Legos. You just take all these little pieces, and they're pretty simple, and you make amazing things out of them. And then when you see amazing things, you think about how to build them with these little bits. And it's fun because sometimes you build it in a way that crumples, and you have to sort of grab the pieces and shove them back on in a different order.
Yeah.
But that's what I just love. I love little simple problem solving to make crazy things.
My answer is, go ahead.
No, you go first.
I was going to say my answer is completely opposite. Well, not completely opposite, but
he hates putting things together.
Yeah, it's the worst. No, actually, it's a bit lame since I was, like I said, like a database programmer. I like the poetry of it. I know that sounds really weird, but I think you can take a standardized language. I have a flair from the grammatic. I really like language a lot, and I know 53 programming languages professionally. I can do it. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I love syntax. I love grammar. I love all this stuff, and it's the ability to express very complex ideas in what seems to be a standardized language, but in a unique and novel way. in a way that's optimized and continually optimized and continually changing the way you iterate. That's iterating from a big ugly idea to a beautiful idea. That is a moment for me. I think that's incredible. I love that you can determine somebody's generalized shade of a person's personality by looking at code.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I like that code starts with zero assumptions. Code is not human. I like the part where you translate something that makes so much sense in your head into a device that just doesn't understand a single thing. It's that translation and like the little mistakes that happen and the little insights you have. Those are my favorite moments where when you're translating this thing that makes so much sense in your head and it's just like the computer just goes like, no. I mean, when we started on Nuclear Throne, we had one live stream where we introduced a new weapon and it used a new bullet type. And we tried it on the stream, and there were like 300, 400 people watching, like very early on. And we shot the gun, and the bullet went through a wall, and people were just like, "Why did the bullet go through the wall?" And we're like, "Well, we just didn't program collision yet." And like, it was so mind blowing to so many people that you actually have to do that.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You need to make the bullet hit the wall, and like, then you go like you sort of reverse engineer that like in your brain, and it's like. Gravity is not a default. Like you have to program gravity. Like to a lot of programmers, that makes a lot of sense because we're used to that. But seeing that in other people, seeing that understanding that everything in a game,
there are no assumptions.
There is computer cannot assume. Like you have to explicitly tell the computer everything, and I just love doing that because so many little things happen in human brains and computers are so different, right? Yeah. If I say the word, this is an exercise I do with students a lot, where I tell them to make a platformer. I give them 1 week. And I tell them that if they get the game even like a little bit right, even like slightly right, I will pass them, and otherwise I fail them. And I've never passed a single student. Because they never even get close. Like, sure, I'll tell it here. Like, I can't do this exercise again. The trick is, when I say platform, I mean a 3D platform. Nobody ever asks whether I want a 2D or a 3D platform, and they just make Mario. And it's such a simple assumption. A computer will not be able to do that. Right? It would just go like, blah, 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 error. Blah.
But a human brain can just be like, oh no, I will take all of my experiences
and you make mistakes. Yeah. Your computer, you have to teach your computer to make those mistakes, which is kind of awesome. Yeah. I love that.
Not just kind of. Incredible.
Now I can't do that exercise anymore.
So you guys, are they talking? Hold on, I want to just get this straight. We've got Rami, we've got Renee, we've got me. I'm nobody, but we've got me. And you guys are worried about what the fucking plushies are right now? Like, that's what you guys are talking about?
They're worried about the Lego set.
The Lego sets. Oh, yeah, there's a Minecraft Lego set. There's a TMNT Lego set. I actually have a stack of Lego sets in a storage area, but those are the ones we're playing around with right now.
There's an Ouya.
Pardon?
There's an Ouya.
Oh, yeah, there's an Ouya.
See, I made the mistake of saying Legos, and now they're just...
And now they're trying to work it out. I was very confused.
We do have a question from the Army of None for Renee. Can you sum up making potions in 2 to 3 sentences? I know nothing about it, but you seem cool, and I am interested.
So if you didn't seem cool, they wouldn't give a shit about your game. Like,
it's just
I can make the best game in the world, but if I don't seem cool enough,
not worth it. Not worth it.
Well, okay, so 2 to 3 sentences. I will use 1 sentence to explain the game. It's a adventure crafting game using potions made by ingredients you get from exploring the world and killing monsters that you can only kill with the potions that you craft.
That's like a Chaucer sentence. That's like a giant sentence.
It's like a resource management game, and if you kill everything you see, you run out of potions and get ingredients you don't need, which is cool.
So as you said, killing everything is expensive as a
killing everything.
That's really cool.
It's completely non-economical. It's
nice.
Economical.
Yeah.
But in terms of actually creating the game, it's iteration. I had no clue what I was doing. I was using Unity for the first time.
Now? No, that's okay. Good.
I have a clue of what I'm doing with the things that I already made, and then I mean, I've trashed multiple systems in my game and completely rebuilt them, and I still look back at some of the old systems I created and think about remaking them. So I made like inventory and loot tables and AI, and every day I go through and like, oh, well, this system should be separated from this one, and like rip them out and shove them back in. Like, that's what making a game is. I think a lot of times when you're doing enterprise work, you find yourself focused on this little tiny problem of like this
unit tests.
Yeah.
Unit tests.
Yeah.
What does the unit do? Does it take text? How much text can it take? Will it break if I put weird text in it? Unit tests. That's all you worry about.
Yeah.
You don't care about scope.
And there's a spec, and there's a like we don't have spec.
Some sales guy made up some shit. You gotta make it work.
But when you're developing an entire game, it's all about trial and error and just not being afraid to like slaughter your own code because you need to.
Kill your darlings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the thing. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. You're going to have to murder everything that you think is game making. You're going to have to. All of your assumptions have to go out the window.
You can never appreciate a game anymore.
No,
as a gamer.
It's over. It's over.
It's the word. I'm playing Destiny with my friends, and I'm just like, did you see how that interface went? And they're like, shut up.
Just play the game. Just enjoy the game.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you.
I've
been muted.
I tell this to students all the time. I talk about film and games at some college. I'm doing one next week at the University of Washington. Do you think it's going to be cool? You're going to have a great time? It's going to be fun?
Then don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah, get out.
Leave now. It's not going to work. You're going to fail. Why are we doing? What is this?
I'm just sitting with another one.
Cool. So we have two.
Now we have a double chat.
One of them is at a different portion, a different place in the conversation.
Yeah.
One of them is time traveling. 130 years in the future.
130 years.
No, but
the left one is the right generation.
Yeah. Throw out all of your assumptions. Don't expect to have a good time, and don't expect to make money. If you have a burning passion inside of you you have to tell the story. You have to make the game. You have to make the movie. You have to whatever thing it is. You have to be a plumber. Whatever it is. That should drive you. Nothing else should drive you.
Yeah.
By the way, I'd like to point out that the Army of One said, "Correct, Don. Good thing you're cool, yo."
Yeah.
Thank you for calling me cool. This episode of Starr Mazer TV brought to you by me being cool. The choice of the right generation.
Finally, having learned how to love.
Yeah, I did. Look at that. It's the greatest. It's cool. Do you guys want like food or drink or anything, or you have to leave at some point? Like
we have a few more minutes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
sure.
let's get some like cool, badass wrap up questions or crazy something.
Some really hard questions.
Really hard
questions.
I'm
going
to run out of time with them. We're going to be playing video games after they leave. The Imigos crew is going to play video games for a couple hours with you guys, so we can continue talking about Starr Mazer. I think we might. What are we playing? Jamestown, maybe.
Oh,
we might be playing Jamestown.
I love Jamestown.
Should be cool.
That's a good game.
But we'll be playing that afterward. But during this, I'm trying to fill in 20 seconds because of the time.
I know we have to.
Yeah. So during this period, ask some questions.
Do like little jazz
or you
hands.
just dance.
Jazz hands.
I'm gonna do this. Like the sparkle. What is sparkle? Like everything's great.
Wait. There's the fingers and the jazz hands. What's the fingers ones?
I don't know.
I'm not. This is not an area of expertise of mine.
This got really awkward real quick.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about this.
There's
Gregrox asks, this game looks pretty awesome. Wonder if there are multiple endings. Yes, there are. In fact, the endings are built from your activities in the game. We worked for a while with the idea of like concrete, like a bunch of endings, and got rid of that. You will determine an ending that's either death or the logical ending of the game. So yes, a bunch of different endings.
There's some
I
really
like you're answering questions for us. That's the best.
There are some really hard-hitting questions. Oh, all-time favorite game.
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum.
That's hard. This is one of those things where like I'm supposed to like pander to you guys and say like one of your games, but you don't even have one. I'm supposed to like come up with a Vlambeer game.
Ooh. What is?
No, I'm just kidding.
What is the favorite game?
All-time favorite game. That's hard.
I mean, it's so hard to pick an all-time favorite game.
And like,
it's like what's your all-time favorite food? Well, it depends on
like,
what mood I'm in.
well,
For me,
a caprese salad for me. Yeah, here we just both came up with it. This was easy.
Apparently, I can't decide on anything.
But actually, I have chashi ram as my favorite meal, and my favorite single food item is Alaskan snow crab. That's like the greatest thing on earth.
I got it. Somebody just said it.
What?
What do you think of Spelunky? Spelunky is my favorite game ever.
Wow, your
Done.
favorite game ever.
Favorite game.
You told me that Grim Fandango was your
Grim
favorite.
Okay, Grim is like Grim and Spelunky.
Which is objectively your favorite game.
Okay.
ever.
Oh yeah,
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, Spelunky and Grim. And
that's not one game.
No, that's not.
Give me a
You can't take a point-and-click adventure game and mix it with some kind of action-y genre. That won't work. I'm telling you right now, it's impossible.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, you're gonna actually coin it.
This is
Coin. That's Spelunky. Till.
Wait, but you have to answer from ever forward until you find a new favorite game.
This will be the answer.
Favorite game.
We're gonna canonize this on Starr Mazer TV.
So head Spelunky, tail Grim.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is it?
It is.
Does it focus?
It is. I think that's a Tails. No, it's a head.
That's a head.
It's a heads.
So that's gonna be Spelunky then.
Spelunky.
Spelunky.
I told you it was Spelunky.
Okay, there you go.
I said it.
Okay, yeah,
And
you're
the
right.
coin
It's
agrees with me.
Splunky.
Nice.
He just lied to me.
The
yesterday.
RNG.
He just lied to me.
The RNG agrees with me. Grim, one of my favorite games ever.
Renee.
Fixed?
It's good.
Gosh.
Here's your coin. Go first.
So yeah, I guess my two. I started out actually on first-person shooters, so that might be weird. My first game ever was Wolfenstein.
Nice.
So when the Half-Life series came out, that was
Nice,
really
yeah.
amazing for me. So
I have a lot to say about Half-Life versus Half-Life 2.
I'm gonna say Half-Life is heads, and then on Tails' side, this is it's actually kind of a JRPG. It's called Legend of Dragoon, and it has a really cool combat system that you should look up because it is turn-based but requires rhythm. If that makes any sense.
Cool.
Now I just want to play EDF because I'm thinking about EDF.
And it is Half-Life.
Half-Life. That's a good answer.
good.
I'm not gonna coin it. I'm gonna say
You're
something.
not going in.
I'm
You're not going in. You
gonna-
don't get to get out of the structure.
Okay, I'm gonna quit.
There.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. Ha ha.
Now I
I
have to
took.
pick two games. That's the fun part.
Well, no, it's fine. No, I have the two.
Right.
I took apart a Nintendo NES copy of the original Mega Man. I soldered the SID and the EEPROM, the game EEPROM, into a cut down board of a Nintendo. I was like 13.
Yeah.
And I carried it around like a tape deck.
Yeah.
I listened to it. Just played the soundtrack over and over and over. It would play like 13 times or something before something went wrong, and it would just break.
Nope.
And I would have to pull the batteries out. I had 6 batteries, and I had to put them back in and play the whole thing over and over and over again. It wasn't a Nintendo at that point. It was just a messed up tool that I'd built. It's in a box somewhere. But it was just Mega Man 1.
Your chat really doesn't like the Queen of England.
What? Oh, is that a thing?
I don't know.
Wow. So anyway, there's that. But that actually leads into it. So the sound and music for that was like mind breaking for me.
Yeah.
But Mega Man 2 taught me gameplay things that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
That's an incredible thing. So Mega Man 2, and then I don't know if this is wins. It wins because of the Fallout 3. The reason being, I was a massive Fallout fan, and all the callbacks and all the jokes and all the humor. You'll see all of that in Starr Mazer. It's complete. The original Fallout and Fallout 2. I lived for those games, and for a year I campaigned vigorously. I was a enterprise programmer. I was like 60 pounds heavier, and I was an angry fat nerd guy. I was like, Fallout 3 can never work. It's first person. It's the worst thing ever. I did this for a year. I was the worst human. Anybody who met me, it'd be like, hey, my name's Bill. Hey, Bill, I'm Don. Fuck Fallout 3.
Yeah.
So I got it as a gift, and I was like, I'm just gonna break this in front of you. I'm gonna break the disc in front of you. I can't believe you did that. Was it a joke? Is it a gag? Is this like buying somebody the Blu-ray edition of Commando? Like, this is like that doesn't make sense. So I put it in, and 200 hours later, I had experienced the best thing I'd ever experienced. And I don't know if it was that like hunger makes the flavor better thing. Like I was so bound to hate it.
Yeah.
That but I also imagine it might have actually been a billion better than I even thought it was, because I was already going to hate it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be between Mega Man 2 and Fallout 3. Mega Man 2 and Fallout 3 currently are the only two games I find myself pining for in like regular like daily life. I want to go back to being in that universe. So there. Heads, I'm sorry, I'm not looking. Heads is Mega Man 2 and
You're going to be happy with the result.
yeah. So
well,
I had to flip it. If you want, it was heads. It was Mega Man 2. That's great. I'm
good. Good.
So there we go. Here's your
Thank you.
money. We have another question.
Awesome, my Bill. This is
Awesome,
my
Bill.
hardest question. What is something you believe in? It's not a religious question, just the way you see the world.
Something you believe in.
Cooperation.
Nice.
That's just it. Like, I think our species is built upon not individual achievement, but the achievement of many. And I think as individuals, we are only one part of something way larger. Like, there is no achievement that will ever be truly your own, because you're always building on the shoulders of the people.
Impossible not to.
So cooperation and appreciating that is mine.
I guess going along this sort of same route, I think empathy, because I think without empathy you can't really have cooperation.
This is incredible. We're all going to say the same thing.
And I truthfully, I read this book called Brain Rules, which is really awesome if you want to check it out, but it's all about sort of how the human brain works, and it's the fact that we're so good at empathy that allowed us to get communication and be like, oh man, I kind of understand what you want, and like obviously like we use empathy to understand what like your cats want and what like your dog
Sometimes
wants.
it's wrong, but it's cool.
Yeah,
like we
but
have it and we have it in overflowing. Yeah,
but it's funny because I mean, with pets especially, you get it right so many times they kind of get frustrated at you if you don't understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think empathy is really important, and especially because like when someone does something you don't like or something that hurts you is really wrong, you can still have empathy for where they're coming from to do that, because people they're not just mean or to like be harmful just because that's not human nature. Like,
so I'm gonna stack on top of that. It seems like we have one large.
We're just cooperating here.
No, it's perspective. I believe in perspective. I believe perspective is the most required. Perspective. When we tell a story, we're trying to emote perspective. We're trying to engender perspective. I think having perspective makes you a better human being. Understanding that your 3-foot circle is actually the size of Earth, and that everything you do affects everything around you in a very, very cogent way.
Yeah.
And will forever. That's a huge thing. And it's so hard for people to get there, especially when a lot of the social structure we have is specifically like only look inward, do not, outward is dangerous. I think that's terrifying, and I think telling stories, you'll see from my games and my movies, that's to engender perspective.
Sorry, I hear Adriel is in the chat, so I miss you.
Oh,
I'll see you soon.
Aww.
That was so beautiful.
Did she just message me that she was
I hear
watching?
She's Pizza is in the chat. I missed you. I want some pizza. We have another question, yeah.
Alright, from another fluke for Renee. As a person learning how to make a game, when you come across a programming problem you can't solve, how long do you try to solve it yourself, and what online resources do you use to find solutions?
Fair.
Cool. It depends on what I'm trying to solve when it's for solving myself. If it's a logic thing that's going wrong, like I don't know how to iterate a list properly or something like that, like some...
You never get the job. You have to know how to recurse.
Right,
you never get the job.
Yeah, well, so when I'm doing something that can be solved purely by the logic and the tools I have, I will spend a long time. Like I did Ultimate Tic-Tac-Toe. I recreated Ultimate Tic-Tac-Toe, if you're aware of that. It has a crazy rule set. Never once would I ever dream of looking up any of that rule set logic at all. Like, that's something you definitely have to solve yourself. However, since I'm using Unity for the first time for game development, there's a lot of things I just don't understand, a lot of keywords, and like just using Google at first is really great, which always brings up, like Stack Overflow, the Unity forums specifically.
Yeah.
Like even Reddit comes up with a lot of these questions. If that doesn't pan out, I have amazing friends that I can go to and ask questions about. Or
you can ask questions about me.
Yeah.
You can always, if you have a question about Dawn, you can always ask a question about. Hey Dawn,
I can ask questions, and that's not just for programming. I mean, in game development in general, getting other people's opinions, especially people that you can show your like little mutant baby of a game to without them hating you.
My biggest resource is like I go to Google, and if Google doesn't work, I go to Zach Aikman.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Like that's the flow of my logical flow.
Yeah. I would do it the other way around, but he'd probably hate me. Yeah. Anyway, never mind. Good.
Is that it, guys? That's it, right? The Army of One's trying to start a thing. Okay, he says Don loves Reddit. Here's the problem. I don't actually understand Reddit. You do. You're the Redditor. We can talk about it. So how do I get the right number of updicks to make my poop butt be on the front page? I don't understand. It's all like I use those as keyword interchange. Like they're just random words. People are like, you need to this that and have the karma, and it just seems like a problem to me. Like why can't you just openly communicate?
Reddit seems like a problem to me. Dawn.
I just wish I got it. I don't get it.
It's just a forum to discuss
How old are you?
things.
I mean, generally, you don't have to like.
Oh, this is funny. Okay, so I like saying this to make people feel old. I was born in the 90s.
I hate you.
I wasn't.
I was not either. I was born.
I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, this is terrible. So that's why you get Reddit. I was trying to point out. I'm 35. I don't understand a Reddit.
You're old. You're effectively ancient by this point.
I have friends who understand Reddit who are like in their 40s.
Basically, you're old and unaware, is what she said.
Exactly right. I don't get it.
She just...
I'm 24, by the way.
Reddit, I don't get it.
Yeah.
This episode of Starr Mazer TV brought to you by Don's striking lack of understanding of Reddit.
The wrong generation.
The wrong generation. That's perfect. New question, yes.
From Fuzzy Ski, Renee, if I were to gift a game out on Steam, what would you choose?
Fuzzy keeps sitting on like a pile of like 10,000 games.
All the games.
He did it.
If you were to gift a game out to the chat, I think a game that is often underplayed and one of my favorite games is called Racketeer, an item shop's tale, and it's actually something that I based my own game off of a lot.
Not Potato Man Seeks the
Not
Truth.
really. It's something that inspired my game. My game has ended up not being like it very much at all, but I really, really love the game. Basically, you play as a little girl running an item shop in a JRPG, kind of.
Wow.
And you get to like go out in the world and like dungeon crawl and kind of get items, but a lot of it's about the economy side of things and selling things, and it is fun to play. You'll sit down and like play for hours and then wonder where your life went.
Nice. Reddit is like the Newgrounds, but more terrifying.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Like Newgrounds was...
I love Newgrounds. I mean, it was such a huge part. Like, let's not underestimate how
it was powerful.
Influential that was on game design and independent development, but it was kind of terrifying.
Yeah, a little bit terrifying.
85 reporting for duty.
I thought...
I'm 88, so I'm like 8 years younger than you.
Oh wait,
Lethal J.
That's
two
not how
with
you
the J
spell
and the
lethal.
L.
Lethal J. Lethal J.
Lee Ethel.
Lethal
J.
Lee Ethel.
Green
Green
Rock.
Rock. Thank you guys both for following us, Starr Mazer TV.
Green Rock.
So it seems like we're wrapping this segment up. We're gonna say goodbye to Rami and Renee, and then we're gonna go dark for a few minutes, listen to some cool music as we set up a cool video game. So thank you for watching this episode of Starr Mazer TV. Half 1. We'll be back shortly to play some cool video games with the Imagos crew. So just stand by, talk to each other in the chat, get Fuzzy's cool game giveaways, and talk about how I'm terrible at Reddit.
Yeah.